16th. I just got back from Nassau in the Bahamas, and to welcome me back, my butler Jeeves, you've met him before. He dressed up in the Bahamian hair, and he brought me their special dish, the jerk chicken. This one flipped me off. That's what made it such a jerk. Anyhow, when I was down in the Bahamas, boy, they had things that we don't have here yet in Chicago, like temperatures above 50 degrees. It was very lovely down there, and the water in the pool caused no shrinkage. So that's always a good thing. Get your feet out of my arm there. Anyhow, I think what we ought to do is we ought to adopt the Bahamas and take them along with Puerto Rico, make it the 51st state, call it Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett would be unanimously elected governor, but Hillary Clinton would still claim that the race is not over until she can find a nice tropical pantsuit. That said, Memorial Day is about a week away, so to get you ready for our next national holiday, take time this Friday for a couple of laughs with the Friday Funnies. Our first story concerns a man by the name of Gakhan Mutlu. Gakhan Mutlu. Try saying that 5 times fast. Well, Mr. Mutlu was supposed to be on a JetBlue flight from New York to San Diego. When he got to the airport, they said, well, we're all out of seats. And he said, oh, but I had a reservation. I need to get to San Diego. I don't know if that's what he sounded like. I just thought I'd throw that in to make this more interesting. When one of the flight attendants heard that, she said, well, he can have my seat. This flight attendant was deadheading to San Diego, was willing to give up her seat to Mr. Mutlu. She said, I'll sit on the jump seat, which is that little one that folds down that they use for takeoffs and landings. Everything was fine until about a half an hour into the flight, and the flight attendant said, I can't sit on this jump seat anymore. It's too uncomfortable. I want my regular seat back. At which point Mr. Mutlu said, well, I'll sit on the jump seat. They said, no, you can't do that. You're not an employee. You, my friend, will have to spend the rest of the flight sitting on the toilet. Well, it was his own private suite, but yes, he had to sit on the toilet for 3.5 hours. He is now suing JetBlue Airlines for $2 million, claiming that they put him in a dangerous situation because there was no seatbelt on the toilet seat, which there always should be anyhow, even in your own home. And he also said that after sitting on the toilet for 3.5 hours, that red ring it left around his butt will not go away. So good luck to him. He also did say that when he was in the toilet, he felt a little flushed. Thank you very much. All right. I always like people with interesting names, like Ice Cube or Ice-T or Prince. But people in America, thank goodness, are allowed to change their name to anything they want. And a lot of people do, some for political reasons, some for entertainment reasons, some just because they don't like the name that they were given at birth. Well, I don't know what the reason was for Steve Kreutzer of Zion, Illinois, but Mr. Kreutzer has petitioned to have his name changed to In God We Trust. That's right, that's what he wants his whole name to be, In God We Trust. What do you call him for short? In? Trusty? I have no idea, but imagine this scenario. He is walking down the street, a stranger is walking towards him. Both of them happen to spot a $10 bill laying on the ground. The stranger is the first one to it, and Trusty says, hold on, pal, I think that's mine. The stranger says, oh yeah? Is your name on it? There you go. I'm taking a lesson from this. I am changing my name to E Pluribus Unum. All right. We know that people in Australia are, what's a good word for it? Nuts. And no better case has been proved than in the city of Alice Springs this week. Police pulled a driver over. They did not identify him, but they pulled the driver over for having an unregistered car. When they walked up to, or unregistered vehicle, I should say, when they walked up to the car, they noticed in the back seat was a small child not strapped in with a seatbelt. And then they looked on the other side of the back seat, and there, firmly strapped in by the seatbelt, was a 30-pack of beer. So they made sure the beer was safe, but not the kid. And in his defense, the driver said, well, crikey, I didn't want the boy getting into the beer before we got home, so I strapped it down. Good luck to him. Our final story is about an assault. In Des Moines, Iowa. Sean McGuire was charged with assaulting a police officer. What happened was Mr. McGuire's friend was stopped because he was a suspect in a hit-and-run accident that happened previously. Well, he wanted to stick up for his friend, so to defend him, Mr. Meyer threw at the police officer a handful of M&Ms. That's right. Threw a handful of M&Ms, one of which hit the officer. The officer said, "You are under arrest." They were peanut M&Ms, and that is the reason for the charge of being assaulted. I know. Hey, that's all I've got for you this week. Remember, this is the time to do your spring planting. I just finished planting all of my bulbs in the yard, and they're all 60 watters, so I can't wait to see what comes up. We'll talk to you next week.